Good afternoon, everyone. Myself Satyam Gupta. A very warm welcome to all the participants and members joining us today for this important webinar on peer review. It is truly a moment of privilege and honor for us to have with us today two highly distinguished personalities who have made remarkable contribution to the chartered accountancy profession. First, it is our proud privilege to extend a very warm welcome and helpful welcome to our guidance coach, Dr. Raj Chawla, sir. He is known not only for his outstanding professional excellence, but also for his relentless contribution to the growth of chartered accountancy profession. His guidance, leadership, and commitment to nursing young professionals have inspired thousands across the country. His presence today adds immense value, credibility, and inspiration to this program. At the same time, it is a matter of great honor for us. We have our esteemed speaker for the day, C. Nakul Arora, sir. He is an accomplished academician and an exceptional communicator, having delivered more than 600 technical sessions on professional standard, taxation, audit, and compliance, along with over 350 soft skill sessions on leadership, communication, and interpersonal effectiveness. His vast experience and practical approach make him one of the most sought-after speaker in this professionality personality. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Satyam ji. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I welcome T. Nakul Arora ji, a very learned, experienced faculty, and we can say he's totally expert in this peer review course. So I welcome C. Nakul Arora ji, as well as I welcome all the members attending this our program. As we all know that this peer review is going to be compulsory for everyone, approximately everyone, with effect from 1st of January 26, because the fourth and last stage of this peer review is going to be starting with effect from 1st January, where at least 3 partners are there, or your firm is conducting the audit of any bank branch. So we will discuss in length all the things in detail. So let me start my PPT first, then we will take all your questions, your queries, your doubts one by one. So dear friends, this peer review first of all came into effect with effect from 1st April 2010, when SEBI came with a notification that the chartered accountant is conducting the audit of any listed company. In that case, the firm of that chartered accountant must be peer reviewed. Otherwise, there will be disciplinary action against that firm. And the objective of this peer review is that the chartered accountant is doing the auditing work in a professional way. This is the main objective of this peer review board. So we can read the definition given in this, that peer review means and system procedure that determines the quality of the audit work, the professional, the ethical standard, and audit quality maturity model AQMM, that all are compliant for. And the objective of this is that peer review aim to ensure that the assurance services rendered by the member complying with technical, professional, and ethical standards as applicable, including other regulatory requirement, and have in place proper system including documentation thereof to clearly documentate the quality of the assurance services. तो मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव जो है इस पीयर रिव्यू का है, इंस्टीट्यूट ये चाहता है कि जो भी हमारे चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट भाई बहन हैं, उन्होंने किसी भी कंपनी का कोई भी ऑडिट एश्योरेंस का काम किया है तो उसकी प्रॉपर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन उनके पास होनी चाहिए फाइल में. कल को कहीं से भी हमें किसी भी तरह की कोई क्वेरी आती है, so we can easily we can reply those queries. As I told you that with effect from 1st April 2010, SEBI mandated that the limited review or statutory audit report submitted to the concerned stock exchange by the listed company shall be given only by those auditors who have been subjected to peer review process and hold a valid certificate issued by the peer review board of the ICI। ये पहली बार 1 अप्रैल 2010 को सेबी ने रिक्वायरमेंट दी, और तब हमने देखा 2022 तक सिर्फ यही रिक्वायरमेंट थी कि अगर कोई भी लिस्टेड कंपनी का ऑडिटर है या लिस्टेड कंपनी की जो क्वार्टरली जो लिमिटेड रिव्यू होती है उसको अगर आप साइन कर रहे हैं, तो वो जो चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट फर्म है वो पीयर रिव्यू होनी चाहिए। ये मस्ट था। अब आते हैं कि इसका बेनिफिट क्या है पीयर रिव्यू का। सबसे पहला, क्योंकि आज की डेट में हमारे कई चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट फर्म कहते हैं कि सर हम क्यों कराएं, हमें क्या बेनिफिट है, तो सरकार ने सर आपके लिए बहुत बड़ा बेनिफिट दिया है। सरकार ने कहा है कि अगर आपने अपनी फर्म का पीयर रिव्यू करवा लिया तो आपको C&AG अप टू 25 पॉइंट्स आपको इसी बात के आपको पॉइंट मिलेंगे कि आपकी फर्म पीयर रिव्यूड है। द कंट्रोलर एंड ऑडिटर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया हैज रिवाइज द पॉलिसी ऑफ empanelment of CA firm LLP and appointment of auditor of companies under section 139(5) and 139(7) of the Companies Act and statutory corporation autonomous body as per the provision of their respective act. A maximum of 25 points have been allotted to firm which hold a peer review certificate for empanelment up to 25। आप ये ना सोचना कि पहले साल में ही आपको 25 मिलेंगे। It will depend upon the number of years of establishment of your firm as well as आप कितने सालों से करते आ रहे हैं। जैसे 1 साल के 5 पॉइंट्स ये लोग देते हैं, तो वो पूरा प्रोसीजर उन्होंने C&AG ने दिया हुआ है। एंड एज आई टोल्ड यू दैट फर्स्ट टाइम our institute came with the approval of the council of the Institute of Chartered Accountant of India the guidelines for peer review in the year 2022। ठीक है सर। और इसके अंदर इन्होंने क्या कहा कि these guidelines contain complete code relating to peer review process, including the terms of reference of such review, role and responsibility of all the parties concerned, role and functions of the board। मतलब इसमें पूरा स्ट्रक्चर बनाया गया जिसके अंदर हमारे इंस्टीट्यूट का एक पीयर रिव्यू बोर्ड बना, सबकी रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज तय हुई, पीयर रिव्यूअर की, हमारी पीयर रिव्यू यूनिट की, और ये पूरा एक जो गाइडलाइंस है ये 2022 में शुरू हुई। और जो इसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन है, जो फर्स्ट फेज जिसको हम बोलते हैं, दैट वाज स्टार्टेड विद इफेक्ट फ्रॉम 1 अप्रैल 22। अब वैसे तो हम देखें तो 1 अप्रैल 2010 को ही पीयर रिव्यू कम मैंडेटरी हो गया था, लेकिन वो सेबी की डायरेक्शन थी। अब हमारे इंस्टीट्यूट की जो डायरेक्शन आई है फर्स्ट टाइम, वो 1 अप्रैल 2022 से आई है। क्या कहती हैं? प्रैक्टिस यूनिट विच प्रपोज टू अंडरटेक स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिट ऑफ एंटरप्राइजेस whose equity or debt securities are listed in India और abroad। पहली बात तो इन्होंने कहा कि इक्विटी और डेट, ये ना सोचे कि सिर्फ इक्विटी लिस्टेड है, डेट लिस्टेड है तब भी ये कवर होगा, और इंडिया में है चाहे इंडिया के बाहर है, तो दोनों तरह से कवर होगा। फॉर दिस प्रैक्टिस यूनिट देयर इज ए प्री रिक्विजिट ऑफ हैविंग पीयर रिव्यू सर्टिफिकेट। आप कोई भी ऑडिट एक्सेप्ट करते हैं किसी लिस्टेड कंपनी का, तो सर आपके पास पहले पीयर रिव्यू सर्टिफिकेट होना चाहिए। ओनली देन यू आर अलाउड टू एक्सेप्ट द ऑफर लेटर फ्रॉम द लिस्टेड कंपनी फॉर अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिटर ऑफ दैट फर्म। नंबर 2 सर, स्टेज 2। ये 4 स्टेजेस हैं। पहली मैंने आपको बता दी 1 अप्रैल 2022 को शुरू हुई थी, जिसमें सिर्फ आप लिस्टेड कंपनी के अगर ऑडिटर बनते हैं तो आपके लिए कंपलसरी था। कितने भी पार्टनर हैं उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, आप लिस्टेड कंपनी के ऑडिटर हैं तो आपके लिए एप्लीकेबल था। सेकंड फेज स्टार्टेड विद इफेक्ट फ्रॉम 1 जुलाई 24 विच सेज प्रैक्टिस यूनिट विच प्रपोज टू अंडरटेक स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिट ऑफ अनलिस्टेड पब्लिक लिमिटेड कंपनी। प्लीज नोट डाउन, दिस इज अनलिस्टेड पब्लिक लिमिटेड कंपनी। कहने का मतलब है प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी यहाँ पे एप्लीकेबल नहीं थी। हैविंग पेड अप कैपिटल ऑफ नॉट लेस देन rupees 500 crore or having annual turnover of not less than rupees 1000 crore or having in aggregate outstanding loan, debenture and deposit of not less than 500 crore rupees as on 31st March of immediately preceding financial year। कहने का मतलब क्या है? अगर आप किसी अनलिस्टेड पब्लिक लिमिटेड कंपनी के ऑडिटर हैं, वहां पे 3 शर्तें दी कि उस कंपनी की पेड अप कैपिटल 500 करोड़ या उससे ज्यादा है, उसकी टर्नओवर 1000 करोड़ रुपए है उससे ज्यादा है, या उसकी आउटस्टैंडिंग लोन लायबिलिटी वो 500 करोड़ या उससे ज्यादा है, तो आपकी फर्म का पीयर रिव्यू होना चाहिए। दूसरा, इसमें उन्होंने कहा कि प्रैक्टिस यूनिट रेंडिंग अटेस्टेशन सर्विसेज एंड हैविंग 5 और मोर पार्टनर, कोई भी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट फर्म जिसमें 5 पार्टनर या उससे अधिक हैं, तो चौथी कंडीशन ये हो गई, पेड अप कैपिटल 500 करोड़, टर्नओवर 1000 करोड़, आउटस्टैंडिंग लोन 500 करोड़ या 5 पार्टनर और उससे ज्यादा। अगर चार में से कोई भी एक शर्त आपको एप्लीकेबल होती है, तो सर आपको 1 जुलाई 2024 के बाद अगर आपकी फर्म पीयर रिव्यू नहीं है, तो आपको ऑडिट करने का अधिकार, आपको यूडीएन जनरेट करने का अधिकार नहीं था। आइए सर, थर्ड स्टेज जो अभी लेटेस्ट शुरू हुई थी, फेज 3, एप्लीकेबल विद इफेक्ट फ्रॉम 1 जुलाई 2025, क्या कहती है? प्रैक्टिस यूनिट विच प्रपोज टू अंडरटेक द स्टैच्यूटरी ऑडिट ऑफ एंटिटीज, यहां पे शब्द यूज करता है एंटिटीज। एंटिटी मींस कोई भी हो सकता है, चाहे वो प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी है, चाहे वो पार्टनरशिप फर्म है, चाहे वो ट्रस्ट है, हुसोएवर विच हैव रेज फंड फ्रॉम पब्लिक और बैंक और फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन ऑफ ओवर 50 करोड़ रुपीज। किसी एंटिटी ने 50 करोड़ या उससे ज्यादा का अगर लोन लिया हुआ है, तो उसके लिए ये कंपलसरी है। थर्ड स्टेज क्या कहती है कि अगर कोई ऑडिट फर्म किसी एंटिटी का स्टैच्यूटरी ऑडिट करती है जिसने 50 करोड़ या उससे ज्यादा का कोई लोन लिया हुआ है, या उस फर्म के अंदर 4 पार्टनर या उससे ज्यादा है, तो उसके लिए ये कंपलसरी है। सॉरी फॉर द डिस्टर्बेंस। सो दिस इज द थर्ड स्टेज इफेक्टिव फ्रॉम 1 जुलाई 2025। अगर आप किसी एंटिटी का ऑडिट करते हैं जहां 50 करोड़ या उससे ज्यादा का लोन है, या आपकी फर्म में 4 पार्टनर या उससे ज्यादा है, तो आपकी फर्म पीयर रिव्यू होनी चाहिए थी 1 जुलाई 2025 से पहले। अब लास्ट एंड फोर्थ जो कंडीशन है वो क्या कहती है, जो 1 अप्रैल 2026 से एप्लीकेबल है। ये कहते हैं कि अगर आप किसी बैंक का स्टैच्यूटरी ऑडिट कर रहे हैं, बैंक ब्रांच का जो हम स्टैच्यूटरी ऑडिट कर रहे हैं वो कर रहे हैं, या आपकी फर्म के अंदर 3 पार्टनर या उससे ज्यादा है, तो आपकी फर्म पीयर रिव्यू होनी चाहिए। दिस इज गोइंग टू बी एप्लीकेबल विद इफेक्ट फ्रॉम 1 जनवरी 2026। तो 4 स्टेज मैंने आपको बताई। पहली बताई 1 अप्रैल 2022 से एप्लीकेबल हुई, जो लिस्टेड कंपनी के लिए एप्लीकेबल थी। सेकंड बताई मैंने 1 जुलाई 2024 से एप्लीकेबल हुई, जो कहती है कि अगर आप किसी अनलिमिटेड अनलिस्टेड पब्लिक लिमिटेड कंपनी के ऑडिटर है जहां 500 करोड़ की पेड अप कैपिटल है, या 1000 करोड़ की टर्नओवर है, या 500 करोड़ की लोन लायबिलिटी है, या 5 पार्टनर है। थर्ड स्टेज 4 पार्टनर हैं, या आप किसी एंटिटी के ऑडिटर हैं जहां 50 करोड़ या उससे ज्यादा का लोन है। और फोर्थ एंड लास्ट स्टेज जो 1 जनवरी 26 से एप्लीकेबल होगी, कि आप किसी बैंक ब्रांच के स्टैच्यूटरी ऑडिटर हैं, या आपकी फर्म के अंदर 3 या उससे ज्यादा पार्टनर हैं। अब हम सब लोग बैंक का ऑडिट तो सब लोग अप्लाई करते हैं, तो सर आपको 1 जनवरी 2026 के बाद अगर आपकी फर्म में 3 पार्टनर या उससे ज्यादा है, या आपको बैंक ब्रांच ऑडिट आ गया और आपकी फर्म पीयर रिव्यू नहीं है, तो यू आर नॉट अलाउड टू जनरेट यूडीएन। तो आप सब लोगों से रिक्वेस्ट है कि जल्द से जल्द आप अपनी फर्म का पीयर रिव्यू करवा लें। कोई और प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम आपको आती है तो यू कैन कॉल मी, आई विल गाइड यू, असिस्ट यू एंड हेल्प यू। ये हमने एक ईयर वाइज पीयर रिव्यू का जो सर्टिफिकेट इशू है इंस्टीट्यूट के, वो है। अब यहां तक अगर किसी की कोई क्वेरी है तो हम क्वेरी को भी साथ के साथ ले सकते हैं। हमारे चैट बॉक्स में सुनील जैन जी ने लिखा है, वेदर प्रोप्राइटर फर्म हैज टू गेट पीयर रिव्यू सर्टिफिकेट व्हेन लोन क्राइटेरिया इज नॉट मेट बट नो बैंक ऑडिट। सर ये मैंने चारों कैटेगरी जो बताई है ना सर, पहले में मैंने कहा आप लिस्टेड कंपनी के ऑडिटर है, तो लिस्टेड कंपनी के ऑडिटर प्रोप्राइटरशिप फर्म भी हो सकती है, तब भी पहली स्टेज पे भी आपको एप्लीकेबल है। सेकंड स्टेज पे मैंने कहा अनलिस्टेड पब्लिक लिमिटेड कंपनी, तब भी आपको एप्लीकेबल है। थर्ड पे मैंने कहा 50 करोड़ का लोन है किसी भी एंटिटी का जिसका आप ऑडिट कर रहे हैं, तब भी एप्लीकेबल है। और चौथा मैंने आपको कहा, आपने कहा नो बैंक ऑडिट, चौथी स्टेज में आपको तब एप्लीकेबल होगा अगर आपकी फर्म के अंदर 3 पार्टनर या उससे ज्यादा हैं। तो सर, वेदर प्रोप्राइटरशिप फर्म हैज टू गेट peer review certificate when loan criteria is met? yes. प्रोपाइट यहाँ पे सिर्फ वो पीयू की बात करता है, मतलब जो हमारी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट फर्म है, फर्म में प्रोप्राइटरशिप फर्म है या पार्टनरशिप फर्म है या एलएलपी है, इसका कोई मैटर नहीं है सर। दिस इज एप्लीकेबल टू फर्म वेदर इट इज ए प्रोप्राइटरशिप फर्म और ए पार्टनरशिप फर्म। इट इज इमेटेरियल वेदर इट इज ए प्रोप्राइटरशिप फर्म और पार्टनरशिप फर्म। If you are conducting the audit of any listed company, your peer review certificate was applicable with effect from 1st April 2010 and from institute side 1st April 22. In second stage, it was applicable to unlisted public limited company. If your firm, whether it is a proprietorship firm or partnership firm, if you are conducting the audit of any unlisted public limited company where I have given you the criteria, paid up capital 500 crore, turnover 1000 crore, or debt liability 500 crore, or 5 partner, or because 5 partner is not applicable in case of proprietorship firm. If these 3 criteria is there, then your firm, even it is a proprietorship firm, has to get a peer review certificate from the institute. Next query, sir, one of my client got listed recently and my tenure will expire in March 26. Will apply for peer review in January. Do I need to resign as of now? Yes. Either you get your firm immediately peer reviewed, or you send your resignation to the firm that because my firm is not a listed, my firm is not peer reviewed, so I am not authorized to generate the UDN. I am not authorized to sign any audit and assurance document because I am not a peer reviewed firm. Or the second solution is that immediately you apply for the peer review and get it done immediately without any further delay. Next query from Amit Singhji. Newly formed CA firm applying for bank audit required peer review certificate? Yes. Sir, whosoever, whether you are a new firm or old firm, if you are conducting the audit of any bank branch, statutory audit, this peer review certificate is must. So immediately please apply, sir. And the procedure for apply this peer review is that go to ICI peer review board website, download the form number 1, download the form number 1 from there, fill it and send to the peer review board at ici.in. After your application, they will send you 3 name of chartered accountant with their address, phone number, email ID. Out of 3, it is your option to select anyone. You can talk all the 3 as per your situation. You can discuss and you can select anyone, and you have to intimate to the peer review board that I have selected this serial number 1, 2 or 3, whatever is suitable to you. And then institute will send the email to the peer reviewer that this firm has selected you as their peer reviewer to you. So please give your consent as well as confidentiality letter. Only after that they will appoint that person as your peer reviewer, and after that you can get in touch with those people and get it done as soon as possible and send the report to the peer review board. And then peer review board, after their checking and everything, they will send you the certificate. Now the another question, query from Pradeep Singla ji. How many PU can be reviewed by peer reviewer in 1 year? Sir, it is 5. I will tell you in my presentation, in my PPT. After this, I will explain you. Otherwise, it is 5 year. 2 year back, when I was the vice chairman of the peer review board, at that time our institute has given this restriction that a peer reviewer can conduct only 5 in a year, and that 5 also, after completing one, second will be allotted, after completing second, third will be allotted, not at a time all the 5. So now I will discuss the eligibility of to become a peer reviewer. Sir, the criteria to become the peer reviewer is that either you are having 7-year experience as a practicing chartered accountant, or you if you have served the corporate, in that case you must have 10-year experience from corporate and 3-year experience as a practicing chartered accountant. Only then you are eligible to become peer reviewer. And to become the peer reviewer, first of all you have to attend a training organized by the Institute of Chartered Accountant of India for 6 hours. And after attending that training, you have to fill a form number 3 to the board that I have attended this training and I am eligible to become the peer reviewer. And after accepting your this form number 3, institute will allow you to appear in an online examination. That is a 1.5 hour examination every Friday. Every Friday, 2 times. Morning 10 to 11:30 and evening 3 to 4:30. Institute is organizing one Friday mock test and another Friday is the final test. So this cycle is going on. So you can appear in the exam, and after passing the exam, because that is the online exam, immediately after passing this exam, you will become the peer reviewer. Now, the next query, calendar year. Yes. Do we need a certificate before 31st March to get eligible of MEF? We are 4 partner. Sir, being 4 partner, you were required to get your firm peer reviewed with effect from 1st of July 25. But no problem. For this MEF also, it is must for you because you are having 3 partner and above. So my request, immediately get your firm peer reviewed done. Otherwise, you are not allowed or authorized to generate the UD answer. And if yes, how long all this process will take? Sir, it depends upon you. As we are the auditor, and somebody asked me that how much time you will take to complete the audit. Sir, it depends upon the client that how fast we provide the details to the auditor to complete that. Sir, I will provide you this eligibility criteria. This my PPT is not showing that. I will provide you. I will share with you my PPT which is showing all the details of this. Sir, next question is from Tilak Sharma. What if I am not comfortable with out of 3 auditor? Does institute other options for auditor? Yes. If institute has given you the list of 3 auditor and you are not comfortable with those 3 auditors, in that case you can request to the institute that I am not comfortable with 3 auditors, please provide me the fresh panel. So institute will provide you another fresh panel of 3 auditors, and out of 3 you can select anyone, sir. So next please. So eligibility to become the peer review I have told you, and this is the condition where a member shall not be eligible if any disciplinary action or proceeding is pending with him, he has been found guilty or professional or any other misconduct, he has been convicted by a competent court whether within or outside India, or of an offense involving moral turpitude and punishable with imprisonment. Sir, this is the cost of peer review. Institute has recommended the minimum fees for peer review. As we all know that this peer review cycle is for 3 years, and our peer reviewer are also getting the certificate from the institute after passing the online examination for 3 years only. After 3 years, they again have to go through this training, and that after that this passing this examination. So for this 3-year cycle, the fees recommended by the institute for the auditor if the PU is not conducting the audit of any listed company. In that case, the fees is from 15,000 to 5 lakh depending upon the turnover of the PU. And if the PU is conducting the statutory audit of a listed company, in that case, the fees is starting from 18,000 and last is 6 lakh rupees, depending upon the turnover of the PU. And the average gross turnover we have to take of all the 3 years. And additionally, you will get the fees of AQMM, our or that fees is also 5,000 to 30,000 rupees. Cost of peer review. Minimum fees recommended for peer practice unit where the period of review is less than 3 years. Suppose it is your new firm, as our member has asked a query that they have new firm. In that case, in case of partnership firm, rupees 1,000 per partner, subject to minimum of rupees 5,000 and maximum 10,000 rupees. And in case of proprietorship firm, it is 5,000. And this is the minimum fees. You may charge additional fees also. So this is the minimum fees. Now I'll take the other queries. What if I am not comfortable with out of 3 auditors? Does institute other options for auditor? Yes, maximum 3 times you can request to the institute that please provide me the fresh panel of peer reviewers and they will provide you. In case you feel any problem, you can please note down my mobile number. You can talk to me. I will guide you that how it work. Now, our last presentation is that other recent development which I have told you during taking the query, that with a view to developing sufficient and competent resources for review, the peer review board has decided to fix a ceiling of maximum 5 peer review assignment to a reviewer during one financial year. However, subject to the condition that next assignment can be given only after receipt of report of the previous assignment. As one of our member has written this calendar year, no sir, this is not a calendar year, this is the financial year. Means thereby in a financial year, you can get maximum 5 assignments from the institute and the second will be given after completion of the first assignment. Next line, conduct additional training of reviewer of practice unit during audit of listed entities. With a view to improving the quality of the peer reviewer, the peer review board has also initiated a step to make increased use of technology in the peer review process as to effectively overcome capacity constraint. So this is all about my presentation. I will share with all of you my PPT showing all the details. And now I'll take the AQMM is mandatory for all. Sir, our other faculty will take up this question of yours. My mobile number is 98110 either 9811081083. I have written in the Q&A. Also, this mobile number is written on my PPT also. You can see from there. We need to apply for peer review for how many years documents to be maintained? Yes, sir. As I told you that this peer review cycle is for 3 years. So for last 3 years, as on today, we are standing in December. So my last immediately preceding 3 years, 25 ending, 24 ending, and 23 ending. We have to prepare the documentation for 22-23, 23-24, and 24-25. So with this, thank you very much. Our
Thank you, sir.
expert CA Arora, he will take another your queries and questions. So over to Satyam.
Thank you so much, sir, for this session. Now I would like to call CA Nakul Arora, sir, take over the session.
Very thankful to Satyam. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
such
sir.
a wonderful moderation. And of course, CA Dr. Raj Chawla ji for his excellent platform that he has created. First of all, congratulations, sir. And I'm thankful for your kind words, but I stand by the statement that I make a lot of times, and Raj sir has heard it before that every member of ICAI is competent and there's nobody who should call himself an expert of anything. We are all facilitators at different times. So someday you might be teaching me some subject. Today it's my turn to just share my experience and what I have learned about the peer review proceedings. Let's first understand. I'm going to share my screen now. So, firstly, let me clarify the doubts which are coming to me very oftenly because I consult many firms on ICI norms, being into practice of DC and stuff. We have been consulting so many firms, and the most common question is, ki, sir, if we have to conduct the certification work of a listed entity, do we need a peer review certificate? The answer to the question is yes, only if it is falling in the criteria of partners, number of partners. Because otherwise, if you are a proprietor and you're giving a certificate to a listed entity, we have to go by the words written in the mandate which has been rolled out by ICAI. So my style of training is a little different. I will now take you straight to the page where we take the reference from. This is the official website of ICAI. You can see the practice units which propose to undertake statutory audit. The word is statutory audit, not other assignments. Even every condition related to outstanding loans, be it to net worth, be it to anything, it is only applicable on statutory audit. But when they come to the number of partners like 5, 4, and 3, they use the word attestation services. Now, if the number of partners is the case, then every service is covered because you have number of partners, you have to have the peer review certificate for even a single certificate. And I do not go by saying that people ask me that if we remove a partner or two, sir, our target should be to grow our firm and our practice. We are looking for more partners, and some people say they are ready to remove a few. So that is not a smart move any professional will obviously make. But let me share with you my final review that even if you are doing an internal audit of a listed entity, however, you are a proprietor, unless it is a limited review or a statutory audit. Statutory audit is covered by both SEBI mandate as well as ICAI's peer review mandate rollout. But limited review is not in the mandate. I showed you the guidelines, it was only statutory audit. Limited review is covered by the the SEBI mandate, the mandate by the Securities and Exchange Board of India. They cover the limited review. So we say it is covered. Internal audit, certification, even tax audit, consulting or advisory, again, it is not an assurance services, so we will not think about that too much in this go. Let us understand the process of peer review first of all, because it is important. People get confused and think of it as a process which will be very horrific and something very risky is coming to their doorstep. No, sir. It is a simple process, user friendly. ICAI is involved and they help as much as possible. And of course, you can go through the board's website. You have all the forms, all the formats, even of your audit file. Let us first remember peer review is a hand-holding exercise. Why am I so insistent that even if it is not mandatory to you, you should get your peer review done? Because in the cases, when I take DC matter sessions, I do not focus on the cases that were lost. I rather focus on the cases that were successfully defended. The most common document that has successfully defended a DC matter is your audit program, is your email trail, is the discussion you have with the client and you document it. So documentation becomes one of the most important parts. Now let us understand the process of peer review. And once I tell you the process, it is such a simple and user-friendly process that I don't think anybody will be doubtful that how will I go about it and how will I get this done. Sir, first thing first, do an application, come questionnaire. Fill out that questionnaire. So it's a 22-page questionnaire, 23-page questionnaire. It hardly matters. It's a very, very user-friendly questionnaire. It is not as long as people have been, constantly claiming that. I'll just show you the form if possible. Just give me 1 minute. Because many people have been claiming it's because of the number of pages. If you open it on some pages, there are only 3 to 4 words that you have to write. Let me see the question. Is the peer review certificate required to issue certificate in capacity of a statutory auditor if the peer review certificate is applied and not yet granted? So this is a two-part question. So first part is very correct that you are a statutory auditor. you cannot be a statutory auditor, you cannot accept or sign the statutory audit report. But the matter of conjunction is that you have to study the law in its entirety. So you cannot accept or sign the statutory audit report, but you can sign the certificate. And I agree with the leadership. They say that you should have a certificate even if you are a continuing auditor. But the point is, there are only two actions which can, which are triggered the requirement of peer review. One is accepting an audit and one is signing it. So giving a certificate in the capacity of statutory auditor is usually during the statutory audit. If you're doing it later on, it's a transition phase. Yes, you'll issue a certificate or two, that will not cause you a problem. But you have to continue being an auditor, you will need the certificate with yourself. Now let us focus on the peer review form, and during that form, I will also show you the clause number 22, which is very concerning. I'll tell you why. Because I work for peer reviews from the side of the practicing units. So I help many firms getting their peer review certificates, and we were providing the unit-wise client list. Earlier, it was not becoming a problem, but now the board is specifically asking for the peer review report to be the unit-wise client list or the client list to be in the format of clause 22. So we have to be very, 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 very careful about the unit-wise client list. Give me 1 minute. I'll just share the form with you. The form 1, which is the peer review application form. Just allow me 1 second. Just a moment. Just a second. I think I should download a fresh form because all the forms that I see on my screen are actually the filled forms. So I would download a fresh form. Give me 1 second. So now I'll be sharing the screen with you, and I'll be showing you the form of peer review, which is very, very simple, easy to fill. You can get it in Word from ICAI's website. You do not need to do any special efforts to get the peer review form from ICAI. Just give me a moment. Just a moment. Am I still audible and visible? Because I'm not able to come to Zoom now.
Sir, you are audible as well as visible.
Yes, sir.
Please
I don't know
continue.
why I was not able to the Zoom, the
No,
Zoom
because
feature. Give me one.
PPT is on, na, that's why. Now
Okay,
PPT.
okay. So just give me a moment. Yeah, I'll just do it. Just give me 1 second. So here is the side that I wanted you to see. I want you to see the form 1. And during this, we will discuss the clause 22 when we reach on it. First page is extremely simple. You just write the name of your firm. And if you are applying for the peer review before March 2026, the years here are consistent. You have to get your peer review from 2022 to 2025. 22-23, 23-24, and 24-25. These are the years you have to fill at this moment. Don't ask the question again. If we do then and this, nothing. After April, the years will change from 23 to 26. Simple as that. And now let me tell you one more important thing. It does not matter what years you have audited for. What is included is the number of assignments you have signed during this period, which is 22 to 25. So if you have signed an audit report of 21-22, it will be covered here because you signed that document in 2022. Now let us focus. Now it is about as it is mandatory by ICAI. Why are you getting the peer review? Please do not tick here if you are getting your peer review certificate for 3 partners before December. Because they are not mandated right now. You are doing it voluntarily. But if you are doing it after December, in January, it will be mandatory by ICAI. Because Form 1 revisions are the most painful things. When we have to get a peer review certificate, in the query sheet, if they ask you to revise your Form 1, the reviewer has to send the Form 1 again, and sometimes they ask for more samples. And now I'll tell you why I'm all very focused on clause 22. Because if your clause 22 data changes, the client list changes, or your net worth changes, fees changes, suddenly it becomes relevant that what samples were taken. Because sampling also has a criteria for peer reviewers. Let us understand now. We have to clearly tell that have we taken this type of services? If you have done central statutory audit, so for whom? Insurance company, manufacturing, individual or trading. Statutory audit, every corporate audit, every company audit, does not matter. It's a 100 crore company, it's a 2 rupee company. Whatever sector you sign for, you have to mention here. Same for internal audit. Until the end, certification work. People ask me, sir, if certification is covered, what is any other work? All the assurance assignments under SRE, provisional balance sheet, the the compilation agreement, the future projections, everything comes under other work. It is not certified, it is review engagement. Now let us understand that you have not conducted statutory audit of a listed enterprise. Now it is the question where, if you have conducted, you had a review certificate, you do not write that we have not conducted. It is for people getting the review for the first time. Here, if your answer is that you have conducted, the problem begins because you cannot conduct the review audit of a listed entity from 2010. Please don't confuse 2022. That was by ICAI. SEBI mandate does not allow you to conduct a listed entity statutory audits in 2010. Now let's come to the second question. The fifth question is that where do you want your peer reviewer form? Mostly people choose same city, but some people say I don't want my documents to be seen by my neighbors.
किसी ने लिखा कि कैसे ज्वाइन करें, उसको लिंक भेज,
They can
मैं भेज रहा
choose
हूँ
to
वैसे।
call a peer reviewer from outside the
बेटा,
city only, or anything is okay for you. Otherwise, have a preferred city. That I want an auditor from, let's say, Haridwar. I want an auditor from, especially from Ghaziabad, or anything else. So such things can be asked. Just allow me one
विपिन
moment.
कुंद्रा को, तो बेटा रिप्लाई कर देना है ना, तो मैं कर रहा हूँ। हाँ भैया।
So moving on. Now mail ID and address. I don't think I need to take further time. Now if you
तो
are
इसमें
getting
डिस्प्ले में नहीं आई
a
थी,
new submission,
चलो भेज देंगे लोगों को।
just allow me one.
पेज जो है वो B12 का है,
राज सर,
अभी डिस्प्ले
राज सर, माइक कौन है सर आपका?
सो सॉरी,
Okay.
सो सॉरी।
नहीं नहीं कोई बात नहीं, कोई बात नहीं। अब देखिए, नई यूनिट के साथ अगर आपकी पहली बार आप पीयर रिव्यू करवा रहे हो, तो आप नाम, ये जो पार्टनर है, अगर किसी और फर्म में पार्टनर थे, इट्स अ वेरी सिंपल क्राइटेरिया, 5 points, you have to just read and fill them up. Now let's start. Are my policies and procedures in conformity with SQC1? Let us be very clear, because this is a non-official, this is not an ICAI platform. You have to always say yes. Every firm of chartered accountant is mandatorily required to comply with SQC1, no matter you do listed audit or just do one certificate. Then, of course, you do other clauses are very simple, that which partner you nominate, mobile number, annexures. I want to straight away jump to the annexures. The annexures, you say the same information again, but this time in tabular form. If there is any network firm, this will apply, otherwise no issue. Here the period right now is 1st of April 2022 to 31st of March 2025. Moving further, that what was the constitution? Now do not forget all the partners that have been the partners, no matter they are currently your partner or not. Whosoever was a partner during this period has to be mentioned here. And if you say that this person was my partner for even one day and they have not signed an assurance agreement, we need a declaration from them that they agree that we have not signed even a single assurance statement on behalf of the firm. Now, of course, how many employees were there, paid assistant and all, make sure this is in conformity with your MEFs that you file, and make sure you have sufficient staff to conduct the number of audits and certifications you have already conducted. Other employees, of course, that is a further notice. Then how, if there are branch offices, details of that. Of course, what are the gross receipts of every financial year, head office and branch wise, or what are the total receipts under the review. What is the concentration? Now, this is a very important part. If in any year, from a single client, you have a revenue of more than 15%, that is 100%, it is going to be picked up as a sample. But the word used here is professional fees. The word is professional fees. But we still say, because the entire sample is being given for assurance agreements, we can choose it to be the percentage of assurance services only. Moving on. If there is any self-evaluation, you can say yes or no. Has there been past peer reviews? Fair enough. Whether any of them, any of your partner has been found guilty of professional misconduct, or there was any disciplinary action where they were guilty. Now they are not asking that if a case is in progress, only if somebody is proven guilty. Is there any client obtained through the process of tendering? Yes or no? Now let's understand the most important clause, the champion clause for tonight. For the most important thing which we have all gathered here for is annexure A, which is clause 22. Now many people ask me, sir, there are A, B, C, D. What we do is we take all the clients and put them under clause K, any other. Sir, don't do this. Please don't do this. No, sir. ITR gross receipts will not be considered because it's only for assurance services. Only the collections or the fees which you have collected for assurance functions will be considered here. So my point was that if you are filling out the clause 22 and its annexures, usually people choose not to use this part of the annexure, which is this format, and they attach a separate list because number of clients are too many. Now let's understand how to fill this. First mistake people make is the category or name of the client. Sir, make sure name or code is written, and it is preferred you use codes instead of names, because you do not want to share the list of your clients, what fees you charge, what is your professional relation with them, with everybody. Your list will be going to the board, it will be going to your peer reviewer. You don't want to share it. Use codes for all your clients. Now write, has it been signed at the head office? Write head office or whichever branch. Now name of the branch. Please ensure name of the branch is written. Don't write PU, HO and branch. Then which partner has signed? Name of the signing partner. Type of engagement is an important clause. I'll share it with you in 1 minute. But here, if you have, let's say, ABC Limited, and you have conducted ABC Limited for 3 years, you don't have to put ABC Limited 1, ABC Limited 2, 3. Only once you will write ABC Limited, fill out the details, then fill what engagement was done in first year, second year, third year, and the only case where you will have to use one client's code twice is if two partners of your firm or more partners of your firm have signed the same client in different years. Maybe different assignments have been done by different partners or different branches. Except that, how will you write the type of engagement? Sir, please look at this. It is important, and it is the most important because your samples will be chosen on this basis. How do we decide what is our type of engagement? Put your focus here. If it is a CSA, most of the CSAs are already peer reviewed, but I'm still sharing it for your benefit that if it is a central statutory audit, the type of engagement is 1. If it is statutory audit, that means company audit, any audit that you file with the MCA is number 2. All the tax audits are number 3. And all the internal audits are number 4. And anything except these specifically mentioned, you have to put number 5. These are all other things. Concurrent audit, GST, certification, whatever. Now remember, bank audit, which people write concurrent audit as internal audit. Concurrent audit is not internal audit. These are two different assignments. Concurrent audit and internal audit are defined separately. This internal audit is the one which we do under Companies Act as per the appointment of internal auditors. We generate a UDIN of internal audit here. Now let's understand the remaining columns of the engagement. What is engagement quality review? This is an important requirement of the Standard on Quality Control, SQC1, that after every assignment is done, and I don't say this as a theoretical thing, I'm promising you, I am a firm believer of audit documentation, because when we have to take any person to, when we have to prove that we have worked, sir, we have to prove our work for many reasons. Even for clients to believe that CA's services are relevant and they really work, your audit documentation is the first thing they will see without saying. So engagement quality means, for example, me and Rajji are working in a same firm. And we both decide that whatever assignments he will do, wherever he will sign as the engagement partner, I will check that all the list of documents is complete. Whatever list of documents is there, engagement letter, maybe proposal, maybe the declaration of independence, may it be audit proposal, then it should be audit program, what plan we followed, how did we select our samples. If he wants to check that all the documentation is complete, it's just like how peer reviewer is coming for external validation of your actions. We will choose that internally one partner will check the work of the other partner. So we will call it engagement quality review. So it is EQCR, engagement quality control review. It is done as per SQC. And what do you make as per SQC? As per SQC, sir and madams, you make the firm's audit manual. Firm's audit manual is like an SOP in a company. We all work for companies, and SOPs are there in every company for everything to be done. We are asking you to make one small manual for all the assurance assignment, and for that also, it is a shame we have a format of it available on the ICAI's website, Implementation Guide to SQC1. You will find the format of an audit manual, but please try to at least read it and make adjustments according to your area, because otherwise there will be mismatch. Now we have to fill up the turnover, the borrowing, and the net worth of all these clients. This will be the most difficult part, I promise you, because we'll be able to gather these information, I think, by the help of one single list which we download from the ICAI's Udin portal. Turnover, borrowing, and net worth are downloaded only from the specific client files. And I'm telling you the problem. So what happens is, many of my clients these days are telling me that, okay, for certificates use NA, and this is how people are doing, and this is how board is accepting. It does not matter. That board is accepting that you put not applicable in case of certificate and they accept it. It is not correct. Basic KYC of any firm, any certificate you give them, you need their balance sheet to sign that certificate. Even if you say consumption certificate, I just gave a consumption certificate, I gave a stock movement certificate. How did you verify what stock was there on the 31st March of the previous year? You need a balance sheet to do that. There is very less certificates you can give without looking at the balance sheet. And if you have given a certificate, you should have the balance sheet in your records. So saying that this is not available is not an option legally. Now, non-technically speaking in the matters of what is being done and how it can be done, sir, everything is possible. But the reality is you should have these details. And now many people will ask me that, sir, is it like we have to make it for past? This is very difficult. Sir, peer review is building a habit. Peer review is not about getting a certificate once. It is about changing the course of your firm, changing the course of your practice for the rest of your practice. No matter you're left to practice for 40 years or 4 years, your next coming years after a peer review should show a difference. I'll tell you what difference. Every UDIN that is being generated in your firm, you should have this Excel open that today I'm generating a UDIN. Okay, which client I'm working for, what is his name, where I am signing it, who is signing it, how much turnover does this client have, how much borrowing they have, how much net worth they have. Sir, how do we pitch for accounting? It is an embarrassing situation when chartered accountants ask us that why should we maintain these lists on a daily basis. Sir, for everybody we are selling accounting service. We say get your information, have the facts with you, and then suddenly when it comes to share that practice what you preach, we need to have this detail for other purposes as well, for checking on our clients, for making sure what client to expect more work from, where to increase your fees, where do you want to see growth. This is a list you don't make once. You make it this time for your peer review, but this Excel should be in your admin folder, which opens almost every second day, at least on a monthly basis. This should be updated. Every UDIN you generate in a month, you should have a record of when this was generated and how it was settled. I'll share a very unrelated example, but I'll tell you what crossed my mind. I'm dealing with a GST appeal of a very, it's a large company. So we are dealing with an appeal where some e-way bills were generated multiple times. and the assessing officer wanted to put a penalty of wanted to collect taxes on all the duplicate e-way bills that were generated. My question to them when I met that officer was that, sir, this was generated by the error of the system of the GST e-way bill portal. They said, okay, but canceling them was your responsibility. So the client had to pay the cost for me. And of course, in the end, even after paying all the costs, even after paying everything, they had to fall for a penalty of non-cancellation of documents. So you need to be updated what documents are being generated in your name and how you are managing them. We have a small question here. In case of certificate, which figures are to be filled in clause 22? Sunilji, the certificates के case में there is an argument what is said in the market and what is the reality. If you see the law and if you see the binding format, you are not supposed to say not applicable for anything. But application wise, what is being accepted in the board? Currently, if you do not have the details of certain certifications, which is the assignment type, assignment 5, the ones we discussed here, no? This assignment 5, you can choose to not give them a detailed detail of these net worth and borrowings. Rather, just choose not applicable. Okay. Prasanna Gargilji, if some partner has signed tax audit and company audit, will the name appear twice in the list? No, sir. If the same partner has signed it twice, you will just mention one number, comma, second number. So statutory audit is number 2 and tax audit is number 4, I suppose, right? You'll write 2, comma 4. That's it. Both the assignments were handled. If you want to add twice, that is your choice. But for me, I think 2, comma 4 is also sufficient. So this is the entire clause 22, which is very crucial. At least it has become crucial in the recent cases that we have observed. I am talking from my experience. I do not vouch for this is how it was or how it is. Now let's understand the general controls based on SQC 1. This is not applicable on new units. That means the units which have been established recently, not which is less than 3 years. But after that, when it is a full-fledged peer review, which you guys are mostly going for, just allow me 1 second. Most of you will be going for a full-fledged peer review. So in this case, the requirement from you is to fill up this leadership responsibility, and whatever you read here can be only fulfilled by one thing in your audit manual. All these questions are there in your audit manual. Many places they will ask you that have you updated it on time? Have you done the right requirements for the updates? That is fine. You'll be able to do it. It's a small annexure. It will be filled as soon as you complete your audit manual for your firm. Then, of course, the ethical requirements. And again, audit manual will have answers to this annexure as well once you make an audit manual. So these are again simple things. Can the PO demonstrate their ethical compliances? Yes, SQC 1 is not applicable to new CA firms. SQC 1 is applicable to give assurance services. Let's read it. No, let's together learn whatever is mentioned here. The standard on quality control has been made mandatory in ICAI from this date. Hence, the PU is responsible and required to establish a system of quality control designed to provide reasonable assurance and its personnel comply with the professional standards. Broadly, quality control should include policies addressing leadership responsibility, ethical acceptance, and continuance of client relationship, human resources. A questionnaire based on the criteria is given in this part. The application of SQC will depend on factors like size, operations, and characteristics. So there's an implementation guide to SQC. New CA firm, sir, does not get a full-fledged peer review certificate. So if it's less than 3 years, you apply for it and it's a limited period certificate which is revised very soon once your 3 years are completed. So there are firms who want to maybe once a firm is made, somebody already had contacts and they make a CA firm, and suddenly one day they decide, okay, no, I want to get a listed company's audit maybe in the second year. So they will get a peer review certificate, but they might not have to follow all these guidelines. They'll get a limited certificate, and once their time is completed, they'll get a full-fledged peer review certificate. So a certificate will be issued with reference to revision. I'll share with you how this happens if we get enough time. If I get to that slide, I'll share it to you. Okay, Amitji? It's my word to you. Otherwise, I'll talk to you over the phone and we can discuss this. Moving further. All these ethical requirements will be fulfilled. These are simple yes or no questions. Most of them are yes or no questions, and most of the answers are Platonic. So, like for example, has you received a clients below the minimum recommended audit assignments? If you want to write in the chat box, how many of you can say yes to this point? How many of you say yes to has the PU received fees from a client below the minimum scale of fees recommended for audit assignments by ICAI? Somebody was telling me when told them about this question, they said, sir, they should write, have you ever received fees from a client at least, which is minimum recommended by ICAI? Minimum nahi hai to maximum hai. Many people say this is maximum we can ask our clients to pay. Sir, even if it is yes, you will be asked for a reason in the next point. If yes, what is the reason? And most common answer which we allow and which we share that people should give is that this is the competitive market, and because of that, the standard of the city has been followed. Or you can choose to say that my cost sheet meets and I am ready to perform on this costing which I have created a firm. So both the answers are acceptable. Either you say my costing is recovered in this fees. Second and most acceptable answer is that okay, because this is the market condition and that is why I have to accept a fees below the minimum guideline. Any queries you have regarding Form 1, ask now, because this is something you'll have to do first thing before even applying for peer review, you need to have these things ready. So this is the application. This entire form in its entirety will go when you will apply for peer review. So please do not hesitate in asking question about it. Is it necessary for any of the partner to hold a peer review certificate in case of? Partners do not hold peer review certificate, Timsi. Only firms hold peer review certificates. So not any of the partner. So let's say, for example, we all run a firm. You are a partner, Rajji is a partner, and I am a partner in it. And Rajji is the only one who signs the documents. Does not mean that my firm I would not be considered peer reviewed. If my firm is peer reviewed, the entire firm is peer reviewed, no matter who's signing in it. Clear? Any other questions regarding Form 1, or should I go ahead? Because then we'll move on to the entire procedure of peer review, and I'll show you the links, and I'll make sure that these links are shared with you of all the forms. Otherwise, it is very simple. Go to Google, just type PRB ICAI, and everything which you need is there. It is very well consolidated. Even the formats of the audit documentation that you have to create have been provided to you. And somebody recent was asking that if we are applying for a peer review, how much documentation do we need to maintain in terms of year? Yes, 3 years only for getting a peer review certificate, but you have to maintain the audit documentation for 8 years. As per different laws in the practice, 8 years is the expected timeline you have to maintain. In case of concurrent audits, we generate UDIN, but it is not statutory or internal. How do we, sir? It is clause 22. If it is bank audit, so it is clause 22A. It will be assignment type 5. Everything except statutory, internal, tax, and central statutory audit is other services, including concurrent. Concurrent is specifically mentioned. I'll show you. Come, I'll just show you. Concurrent तो सर specifically mentioned नहीं है ना वहाँ पे, देखिए आप 5 others में सबसे पहले there is concurrent, and then there is GST works, GST assurance, certification work, etc. And GST may you will also include the refund certification if you offer any certification for the process of refund. Okay, so are we good to move ahead and get to the other topics, because then we have the peer review process. So I hope there is no confusion regarding the form 1 or clause 22A, or sorry, the clause 22. A, B, C, A to K, whatever it is. Let's move on to the next part, where we'll get back to what we were already there. Just give me 1 minute. Actually, the presentation that I'm showing you is stemming out of a very long presentation. All the people who have attended my sessions know this is a very long presentation. I just use the parts of it, whichever I have to present. Now let's understand Form 1 is done. So you've applied for peer review. Now important parts begin. Second is Form 2. Now who will file Form 2? This is by your peer reviewer. you will get the form 1 you filed, and you will get the panel of 3 peer reviewers. Mostly this panel will be given to you within 2 or 3 days. This is the maximum time board is taking these days. If not, just give them a call and they'll make sure they'll give you the panel. Now you select one out of these 3, or if you don't like the peer reviewer, let's say, what will you do? Sir, you have an option to choose again. If you don't like the panel again, choose again. Up till 2 recalls, you will not be asked why. And even if you want another panel after 9 people you have already seen, you just have to explain the reason for not selecting any of the 3 peer reviewers in the last panel, and you can ask for the panel again. Now let's assume that all this dancing is done. Now you have you have selected a peer reviewer. This peer reviewer will be sent a communication by the board, and then they will send their acceptance, in which they will also declare confidentiality. So every peer reviewer, if you are peer reviewer, please remember, and if you are practicing unit, also remember, no peer reviewer has the right to take copies or take any document of the practicing unit to with themselves. They cannot make copies, not take pictures, nothing. In name of evidence collection, you can only write in your own diary, or your own work papers can be maintained, your own peer review program can be done, and only this is allowed. You're not allowed to make copies, take pictures, or take any evidence in your record from the practicing unit. It's confidentiality, it's information of the practicing unit. It is the property of the practicing unit, and no peer reviewer has the right to extract, or they can see that document. By the way, you cannot stop them from seeing any file, but you cannot uh, expect them, or you will not allow them to take the document on their record. That's it. No client's document at all. Moving further, then Form 5. Many peer reviewers are confused on the way of sending the Form 5 and how many days notice we have to give. Sir, as per the law, only 2 days notice has to be given. Clear 2-day notice, and you can visit the practicing unit. But before you visit the practicing unit, you need to share a sample of the sample selection has to be done, and you give the sample. Now you say, sir, sample, how will we give sample? Sir, this entire form 1 and a client list made UDIN wise. Please remember, not just the clause 22. Another list has to be made, which is UDIN wise client list. Every UDIN generated should be mentioned separately, which client, what assignment, what fees, and what net worth and everything was there, and you share that to the practicing, to the peer reviewer. Now peer reviewer will select their sample. Standard sample size is 10, minimum is 5. Usually 10 samples are selected. Different types of services are covered, different types of client fees, etc. are the consideration that are taken, are the matters that are taken into consideration. And then Form 5 is given to the practicing units. But remember to sign this Form 5 timely, because you have to share this entire set of documents to the board in the end. Moving further, first of all, do all your reviews that you have to do earlier. Check whatever you need to check, and then go to the site after 2 days, 3 days. Go on site and do the on site review. If you need to give a preliminary report, that means you have some confusions, you have some information, you need clarifications, issue a preliminary report. Usually this is not practiced, but it should be practiced. It should be practiced. So if you want, you can issue a preliminary report, and ultimately this report will be replied then. So the practicing unit will respond and clarify on this. Sir, it is your choice. Sunilji, it's your choice. You can give the name or client code. If you ask for my professional recommendation and personal recommendation, you should choose to use client codes, not names. Names is not the right thing to give. The rest is your choice. Sir, no, sampling method is shared with everybody. Again, I'm telling you, everything is given by ICI. We are not doing anything here. Not me, not Raji. We are not making anything at home. Everything is given by peer review board. Let me show you. Just a moment. Just a second. Just a moment. Now I'm sharing the sample selection criteria with you. Just a moment. You'll see it in a minute. You see on your screen, this is the sample selection criteria of ICAI, which is available on the website of the peer review board. So what is the requirement? At least 5. If there is less than 5, then 100% population. If it is CSA, then at least 1 should be from CSAs. If there is any assurance services rendered by different partners, 1 service from each partner. But here there is an exception. If the HO is under review, you have to choose. I showed you in the beginning. Form 1 may we choose HO or partnership or branches. If there is a partner who has not signed any single document in the HO, that will just give a declaration that they have not signed at HO. Otherwise, every partner should one service from every partner should be there. Now let's take a hypothetical example that you have 15 partners. So no matter the minimum requirement is 5, you will have to choose 15 samples in this case. Now include different types of assignments. Now you have to make sure that each location where the services is being rendered. But in case branch has a listed client, then you mandatorily have to take it as a sample. Sample is mandatory to be picked. The assurance clients which contribute 15% or more of the total revenue. Sample has to be picked from each year under review, and if verified for all 3 years, sample would be treated as one sample only. So for example, you took a client where you have provided service for 3 different years, but you have picked it up once. Like I showed you in the format of clause 22, one client's name is chosen once. So that will be considered one sample, even if you give services for 3 different years. Alright? You must include those assurance clients in respect of whom advisory has been issued under FRRB or any regulator, and the minimum has to be met. So these are 10 criterias. Now let us understand minimums. For example, for firms in existence in more than 3 years, for less than 5 crore gross receipts from assurance, the minimum number of samples is 10. 5 to 10, and then of course, maximum is above 50 crore, 50 sample sizes there, and you will have to take the sample according to it. Now, if firm is existing less than 1 to 3 financial years, if there are 5 but less than 10, then the selection has to be done compulsorily of all. In case the clients are 10 or more, the reviewer has to take the sampling criteria which was there above. This is for 3-year validity. Now, if I told you there's a smaller validity certificate, if the total assurance clients are less than 5, the reviewer has to select 100% sample, but the certificate will only be valid for 18 months. And for a secondary and subsequent cycle, peer review will be issued valid for 18 months until the peer review is conducted for complete 3-year period once. And there is other criteria which have to be followed. So this is how the peer review samples are selected. I hope your answer is you have received the answer, Samir Prakash ji. Perfect. Now let's talk about responding. Now you responded to the practicing, the peer reviewer practicing unit has done the response part. Now let's move further. Now form 9, the final report, the attachment, everything will be filled and it will be sent to the board. An email will be sent to the board, and if you are lucky enough, first of all, if you have not received a query, do not think that, okay, very nice, I've not received a query from 15 days. I remember the time when Raj Chawla ji was in the peer review board. So we were always told that if you have not received the query sheet, the only reason is that your file has not been picked up. Once we pick up your file, there are at least some queries that the board will make, and we've always had queries. All the certificates that I have seen, every certificate had a query of the board. So there will be queries. After the queries are replied to, the peer review certificate will be issued. The meetings of peer review board are on Friday. This is just a tradition, and it's been followed from a long time. Moving further. Form 5. Form 5 is actually a notice which is given by the peer reviewer that I'll be visiting your firm. For that notice, you need to mention all the technical stuff, which is name, address, and everything. At least 2-day clear notice has to be given, and all the samples that you will be seeing, all the samples that you expect the peer reviewee or the practicing unit has to make ready before your arrival has to be mentioned on that Form 5. That is it about Form 5. Form 5 is nothing but just a small letter that I'll be visiting your firm on this day. Usually, we have a phone call, no? Phone पे बात हो जाती है and we finally say कि ठीक है, you are coming on this day and you are okay. You come on this day and do my review. That is why peer review we say is a hand-holding exercise, because you know what 5-10 files you have to be prepared for, and those 5-10 files you can prepare in no time. But remember, you can manipulate the off-site review mein usually you get the firm's audit manual, or maybe you get the Form 1, no? At least scrutinize the Form 1. Form 1 will be received by mail. The first day they will ask you to, once you accept the peer review, the Form 1 will be received. You do the scrutiny of Form 1, 22 pages, at least read that form completely. Make your questionnaire, whatever you have to ask in the on-site. At the time of visit, sir, soft copy is nothing. Either you call it a digital audit file or you call it a physical audit file. In Form 1, it is clearly asked that do you maintain your audit documentation digitally or you maintain them physically? If you are asking in terms of as a peer reviewer, because I normally train peer reviewers. So my criteria is they have to tell you that in the Form 1 they would have told is it physical or is it digital. If they say both physical and digital, no problem. Make sure their audit manual allows both physical and digital maintenance. In case of digital documents, there are two problems, sir. All the signatures also have to be made digitally. And digital signatures cannot be time-stamped. Past tense, always will be timed on that. The most important problem in digital certificate, in digital or physical documents is if the 10 files you ask for, they are on their table, fine. If the 10 files you ask for, they are kept on their desktop, okay. But please, as a peer reviewer, make sure you ask them that where are your audit files? And if you see that the audit files are accessible by any staff by going into a room, that is not the correct way, right? The audit file is a confidential document and they should be secured in a lock and key or password protected folder should be used. At least this much is required. So as a peer reviewer, if you're asking me a question, the training changes to a completely different scenario. So we can do that as well. Then what about Form 1? I've told you, submit the Form 1 application. Then of course, location preference and everything. I've already taken Form 1 in detail. So I'm not going to take time on this slide. Let's talk about acceptance and planning. Form 2, initial sample and notice. Now please ignore these things, because normally on physical trainings we start asking the questions here, but this is wrong, this is wrong, and of course rest is correct. Why do I say these two wrong statements are always on my presentation? There's a reason of these two wrong statements existing every time I give a presentation, because people make random assumptions rather than reading the act. So many people will say, I selected 10% of assurance services. Sir, 10%, 950 UDINs are generated by one of my clients. 95 samples you will select for peer review. You'll spend a week in their office, week or 10 days in their office, and you'll not be able to look at these files. Forget about making these files. Then people give a 15-day notice, 7-day notice, 10-day notice. Unless there's a difference of opinion, don't ask for so long gaps and neither give so long gaps, because everybody is in a rush to get the peer review. So the time peer review goes on of the office, no, all the practitioners will agree with me on this, that an entire focus has to be given to this exercise. So make sure that it is not given time more than it deserves. Any which ways, acceptance and planning, this is peer reviewer wise. So this is what can be done. And why am I telling you the peer review thing? I'll tell you. Because many of the times the peer reviewer will ask you that you help me out with whatever has to be done. I'm sorry, but this is how it happens in the day-to-day life that we see. So then, of course, off-site review, we've already mentioned. These are not correct. What can you review and what can you not review? So let me ask you, because you're not in front of me, there's no physical presence here. So audit manual, if the client shares, okay, otherwise you cannot review it off-site. Quality control processes, policies, you're not sent, you cannot review. Can you review previous audit files? If you're not sent, you cannot review. AQMM, yes. If somebody will apply with AQMM, if you want to conduct the audit of a listed company or you have conducted the audit of a listed company, AQMM becomes mandatory and you will have to review, you can review AQMM or Form 1, of course. So reviewer has to examine the responses in the Form 1 and any supporting documents. What are the supporting documents? Because you again, you cannot ask me physically, so I'll tell you the supporting documents like Ludin-wise client list, like for clause 22 ka list, whatever list you have prepared, those supporting documents will be verified. Moving further, what do you do in on-site? Physical verification, do the interviews with partners and staffs, verify the audit files, documentation, practices. Again, peer review is not of an assignment. You are not re-auditing. You are actually just holding the hand and helping them with their day-to-day practices. So as a peer reviewer, आपका जो काम है, your work is not to question and create a disruption. Your work is to make sure best practices of assurance are established in the profession as a reviewer. And if you are a peer practicing unit, please make sure this exercise should help your firm to elevate their practicing standards, their assurance standards, and not the assurance standards, but the maintenance of assurance documentation and the maintenance of assurance work. This is the target of peer review for you. Independence, rotations, ethical safeguards, and internal review supervision. These are the things you do and the on-site review. Of course, after that reporting, preliminary, in case deficiencies are found, PU has the opportunity to respond, then final report. And of course, in case there are deficiencies also. What happens is in the case of deficiency? Nothing happens. Repeat review, corrective actions are taken, and certificate is deferred. Moving on, if in case you are not able to complete the peer review in the timeline, now I do not have the time to show you the timeline of peer review. It's a day-to-day timeline. But if you're not able to submit the peer review report on time, Form 7 has to be filed jointly. Here's the word jointly. Jointly, you have both practicing unit and peer reviewer have to jointly file the Form 7 with the board for asking for extension. And in case there are only certain cases where Form 8 can be filed. Why? For getting an extension of the validity of the peer review certificate. It is no longer applicable because there was a time when all the peer reviewers were depaneled. And suddenly there were no peer reviewers around. So training programs were also happening very often and examinations were going on. So at that time, there were many practicing units who held a peer review certificate, but they got stuck in a deadlock that their certificates were invalidated and suddenly they had no reviewers so that they can get their review done. In that case, Form 8, an extension of peer review certificate was granted. What are the key forms? We've already talked so many times about these forms, but Form 1 is application, Form 2 is confidentiality declaration, then of course notice of visiting the PU's site, and then more information can ask also if you think there is some more information required. Form 6, not just preliminary report. Then Form 9 is for final submission. भगवान ना करे ये फॉर्म कभी देखना पड़े, but in special circumstances, Form 10 is actually sent by the board where the certificate of peer review is revocated. And I'll tell you, this is a very important message for people who are doing peer review and getting their peer review done. Sometimes what happens is both peer reviewer and practicing units, mostly they are known to each other and they just get the report submission taken care of. Actual audit files are not taken care of properly. Sir, both reviewer and reviewee can face action in this. What happens is, just imagine you got this peer review certificate and the peer reviewer has signed that all the audit practices are in order. But he or she chose a sample where you did not complete the audit documentation even later and suddenly some QRV or disciplinary matter happened on that sample itself. There the problems will start to arise. Right? These are key forms. Then AQMM, of course. Ajay, if you want AQMM, we can take an entire session. If there are people who have listed audits and they want to learn about AQMM, it's a detailed form. There are gradings. So if you have 25% score, the score is divided like this. Most of them, So there, for example, like I told you about audit manual, practice management, whatever you are using, there are 280 points of practice management. Then human resource, if you get your attendance by biometric or you use physical methods of taking attendance till today. And last, of course, strategies and strategic functions. Total 600 marks are there, and total 100% is peer review. Sorry, 100% is maximum which you can achieve in AQMM. Now, for 600, 150 is 25%. Mostly there are 0 to full marks except a 1 or 2 questions. 25% calls level 1 AQMM level. That means they need urgent improvement. If you don't even score 150, you need urgent improvement. 150 to 300, it is progressing but requires refinement. Then 300 to 450, it is substantially mature, nearing the optimization. 75% and above are the high maturity firms which are already at optimization, and you can use these AQMM scores help you to get bigger audits, and bigger clients will look forward to more mature model firms. Sample indicators, I've just used small operations indicator, like if you use an automated attendance machine, use digital storage and cloud service, because cloud server से क्या होगा, your availability will increase. This will increase your efficiency. And of course, documented manuals and workflows अगर आपके यहाँ पे SOPs हैं, of course, this includes your compliance to the SQCs, standards on quality control. Again, HR में there are options, there are different ways of becoming better at AQMM. Of course, if you want details, then you can discuss. Otherwise, thank you from my side. There are questions which I'm about to take, and you can start putting your questions in the chat box. I will start answering them now. First, can a peer review trigger a DC action? That's a very pessimistic thought, but I don't think so. But then yes, if something weirdly important is caught by the peer reviewer and they choose to report, yes. So peer review is not triggering a DC action, but if your peer review is done and peer reviewer finds something, they do not hesitate from reporting, it can trigger a DC action, because of course there is one place where complaints can be made. Of course, there are things like declarations, which misdeclarations are done if you've done a listed audit. Can you guide a bit more on documentation and the manner to maintain documentation in respect of audit files, firm manuals, and checklists? Prasanna sir, I can just answer this question in a very simple way. I can give you a checklist on this call itself. But the problem is, it is not practically possible that I can tell you the entire audit file right now. I can give you a checklist. Every audit is different and every auditor is different. So basic audit file is very simple. If you want, I can just show you the checklist in 5 minutes. If anybody wants to stay in touch, of course, you can use my phone number, which is on the screen. Otherwise, of course, you can get it from Raj sir and his team. I'm about to share I'm sharing an audit documentation checklist, but remember, this is my firm's checklist. So it does not mean that it will, if you ask me the question that, sir, is this applicable? Is this mandatory? No, sir, this is my firm's standard which we are following. It is your choice if you want to follow or you just want to ignore something. There are some things which are mandatory. We cover all the documents which we think are required to prove that a good quality assurance assignment has been conducted by my firm. Firstly, these are the checklists. We have an audit proposal in place first. Then we take our consents, whosoever partner is signing. KYC is maintained. We have already written who will get this. Client will provide this, or S is my staff's, my assistant's first name's first letter. So S is the that case. So who is preparing? We put it here. And every time this Excel sheet is given to the boy and my friends or my staff, that they have to make sure this is complete. Somebody is responsible for making it done. In case of company, NOC is every time we make sure NOC is issued before engagement letter is signed. How can we sign engagement letter until NOC is issued? Abhi DC is not that pecuniary. Otherwise, technically, how can we sign an engagement letter before NOC? Engagement letter pe to we have already agreed na that we will provide you service and you will provide us fees. How can we do that before NOC? So this is we do before this. Then acceptance letter comes. We send the acceptance letter to the client. And then finally engagement letter is signed. And one big problem I have with engagement letter of firms. Most of the engagement letters are formats that they have taken from different websites. And in formats, may they forget that the line is written, the fees will be shared. The required fees will be agreed upon later, will be shared in a separate. Why? Why will we share fees in future? Fees to decide who, na? Write it on the engagement letter. At least the client should have it in their headspace, no? That there is some fees that I have to pay. Then, of course, we use audit plan, audit program. Then, if we do any meeting, I'm telling you, this is a separate document we maintain. So, mostly we try to communicate via email. But in case we do any kickoff meeting, any discussion, what we do is we write it in bullets and we witness the signatures. Let's example, Satyamji is the accounts officer of the company. I will ask Satyamji, you sign as accounts officer, I will sign as auditor. This is a discussion. This is what I said. This is what you said. Fine. You have a documentation of verbal discussions as well. Then, of course, any profile, client profile, very important. Document of constitution, any contracts, observation sheet. I have put it in red for a reason. Observation sheet last the close nahi hoti firms ki. And if you issue an audit report without closing the observation sheet, I promise you this is a audit report issued without being satisfied with the evidence produced for your queries. MRL's working papers, and then last mein EQCR, which I told you that if we are running a firm, we can create an EQCR. I can review my rest of the partners will review my work. Okay, let's ask like the rest of the questions. Sampling method I've already shared. Short recap was given. Okay, again, we'll go back to the questions. Peer review ka DC action I've already answered. The documentation by Prasanna ji, you can have a detailed discussion if you want to, and we'll of course we can have further seminars as well. Then Vivetha Sivam. Peer review will be for UDIN generated under audit assurance. But why do we have to give a list of certification work? Sir, certification does not happen without UDIN until the point I remember correctly. The word used for CA profession is not just audit, it is audit and assurance. Assurance is the biggest role. Actually, assurance distinguishes chartered accountants from rest of the professionals. This is our pride, this is our ego, that we are assurance providers. Our signature is trusted by entities, by different departments, even foreign entities. Trust chartered accountant signature. What is the chartered signature? It is assurance. No matter you're using 36 standards on auditing or you're using the remaining 8 standards on review engagements, other assignment, SRE, SOE, whatever you're doing, it is assurance. Your signature is assuring people, even if it is for arithmetical accuracy. The compilation agreements, you write that it is only a compilation agreement, only arithmetical accuracy. We do not take responsibility. People accept it for future projections. So everything we generate a UDIN for is an assurance assignment by default. And even let me tell you, we don't say consultation letters will be considered. One place, even consultation letters are assurance. We assure people that this is what we are writing and this is the law. Nobody can take your letter and win a case in the court. But still, they are not considered only where unique document identification number is done. I want to shed some more light for all the audience. Somebody recently asked me a question. Ki, Nakulji, what do you think? My client, I verified the ITR for the client. That ITR was filed. This is the correct ITR and stuff like that. I said no. ITR का correctness verify करने के लिए we don't have a standard on review or any कोई standard है नहीं. हम कैसे issue कर सकते हैं? He said client मांगता है तो देना पड़ता है. So client asks for it and we have to give it. Second question भी okay है. मैंने कहा sir but आपको right कहाँ है? Where is the right that you can issue this certificate? They said no, you tell me where it is not written. I said okay, I'll answer your question in a funny tone because you ask me funny questions, I answer funny way. I said okay, so my neighbor asked me for a death certificate for his mother. Can I sign this certificate? Where is it written that I cannot sign death certificates? Other certificates, I will sign it? No, I cannot, sir. We are empowered profession. So there are only 44 standards. Standard of assurance, 36 audit के लिए, 8 for other engagements. Our power to assurance is from at least one of those standards. No further than that. That is all from me. Any further questions, you can, of course, Rajji has already given you my number and we can, of course, stay in touch. There is one more question, I think, from Prasanna ji. Let me answer it. How to ensure a successful peer review in case of Projected documents under review. Sir, projected documents में peer reviewer के पास एक guideline है. The peer reviewer has a small guideline where it is said that this line, I'm sorry, this line can be incorrect, but I'll tell you what it is in substance. The line is that it should be written on the every page of that document of that report that this is merely a compilation agreement arrangement, does not provide assurance for its accuracy. Something like that. There is a line which is provided. I'll share this line with you. Maybe I have to read it somewhere. It was written. I've recently, given this line. But yeah, there is some line which was already given in the standard on review engagement. We can read it in that and we'll have that line. Any other questions? If anybody has, if no, I want to hand it over back to Satyam. Satyam ji is already getting very excited. Just let me just get over with. Satyam ji, just given to you right now. So Satyam ji, you can take over from here. Thank you very much. Raj ji, many, many thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, thank you, Nakulji. You have taken all the queries, technical queries from the members, and thank you very much. And members, we will share this recording as well as the PPT within 30 minutes to you.
Yes,
And if you have, I have mentioned the mobile number of myself as well as our co-speaker CA Nakul Arora ji. It is on the screen, so you can ask any query anytime. Most welcome. So thank you, Nakul Bhai, and thank you all the attendees for this wonderful session. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. You should message